episode 15. Level up your character. In this episode, we'll be discussing new hobbies, passions, disciplines, and all things pertaining to the idea of updating your life's resume. So before we jump into this, I want to inform the audience here that I'll be going strictly off the dome. Didn't have much time to prepare for this. Unfortunately, it sounds like a terrible excuse, forgive me, but bear with me as I already know what the main core message is here that I want to get across. Just want to tackle main topics, not blab on for too long, and probably make this a shorter episode than usual. But with that being said, let's jump right into it. So, level up your character. What does it mean? What do I mean by that? And why does it kind of sound like something out of a video game? Well, essentially, when I say level up your character, I'm referring to video game-like traits and hobbies. And what I've learned from trying to pursue this in my own life is that you find yourself constantly stepping out of your own comfort zone in an effort of pursuing something new to, back to the title, level up your character. It started back for me back when I was 19, 22 now, so just 3 years ago. I took up boxing for the first time. Well, I actually started with jiu-jitsu first, just in the street from my house. And it, I want to try something new. Obviously I had that younger mindset, that younger, immature brain where it's like, okay, now I know how to fight. Now I can go out and, kind of, quote unquote, defend myself, when in reality it was like, I want someone to test me to show how cool I am because I know how to defend myself and fight a little bit. But that was just so stupid. And quite frankly, you get humbled very quick in classes like that, especially even at 19. I was, relatively heavy in a good sense. Like I was putting on weight for the gym and for all things fitness. And there's kids, half my size they've been doing it for a lot longer than I, and kind of just flipping me, throwing me around like nothing. And it's very humbling. And in those moments when you find out if fighting, even in training purposes, is for you or not. But again, this goes back to me wanting to level up my character in a weird way. And I'm kind of glad I did it, because following the jiu-jitsu, I didn't last for too long with, because all the rolling and craziness that comes to the crazy amount of sweating in the rolling and constantly having your face thrown on the ground. I never had good skin, and that sounds like a terrible excuse again, but I did enjoy it pretty much, for a good amount of time, but my skin, I was breaking out so much worse than I already was, and that kind of posed as an issue. So I decided to direct my efforts into where I actually enjoyed more of the class, because there's kickboxing involved and all that good stuff, to strictly boxing. As always, black coffee on deck. Anyways, directed my attention towards boxing, where I pursued that for a lot longer. I want to say around maybe is it anywhere from 3 to 6 months, and the reason that window of time is so big and why I can't remember is just it's kind of a blur. I remember it being like a quick. It wasn't too long I was doing it, but at the same rate, I felt like it was very. I don't know. It was confusing to think about. And when I ran it by my mom, she wasn't too sure either. Kind of a blur, but I did it for anywhere from 3 to 6 months, and I really enjoyed it. I picked things up relatively quick, a lot quicker than I did the jiu-jitsu, at least. I don't know, I guess it was just in my nature, and I enjoyed it. I really did. Humbled again a couple times, getting punched in the face and getting stunned quite a bit. Never knocked out, thankfully, but not even to make this whole episode about me, but the reason I keep bringing this up is because it's just little things like that where it gave me confidence, even to the point now where, I have this more mature mindset, and, the last thing I want to do is put my hands on somebody. It's great to know that if it ever came to it, especially in the sense of being on the street, not saying I'm going to step in the ring with anybody, but if I were to be on the street and somebody were to try to attack me or come after my loved ones, that I could defend myself. And the one thing too with that I'll give jiu-jitsu the upper hand with is, it's definitely better to know, and if you ask me to know jiu-jitsu and hands-on grappling stuff, especially because if you get into any sort of altercation, you don't even have to hurt anybody. You kind of grapple a little bit, put them in a position where they can't move, and then you wait for, the police to arrive or for them to calm down, whatever it may be. Whereas boxing, somebody, you're using your hands only, and then punching for the most part, someone usually has to get hurt, unfortunately, at the end of the day. Not that that's anyone's intention, but it gives you that great deal of confidence in knowing that, and this kind of plays into a lot of more passive things. For example, one thing I always wanted to learn, and I have it on my list literally right next to me, is something I want to tackle really hard, head on, by year's end, is learning the guitar. And there's multiple reasons for that. I always thought it'd be cool, not I'm not saying solely to impress a girl someday or to impress my buddies by being able to play the guitar. I think it's something that I always envisioned. You just, maybe you're out. You don't even have to be on the countryside. It's like a nice, calm, peaceful area. It's nice and sunny out, and you can just sit there and kind of just strum away. I think there's a great deal of bliss in that. I think it's beautiful. I would do it by myself on my own front steps on some nice sunny days when I was practicing it for a week at a time. Then I kind of drift away from it, just learning only a couple chords at a time, and even that was still entertaining to me. I'd be playing the same, strum the same three chords, whatever, for like an hour or two at a time, and I kind of enjoyed it. Hopefully, I don't know if my neighbors did. Hopefully, they did a little bit. Enjoyed that show, but it's just like things like that. It's like just be out and about, be able to pick up a guitar, start playing for people, for yourself, for anyone. I think that's really cool. And people could think about anything. It could be something as extreme as high level fighting. It could be in a trained environment, controlled environment. It could be something as simple as I said as playing the guitar, as wanting to pick up books, so that instead of you're in your free time, you're just scrolling on social media, that you could substitute that with actually educating yourself. And I know people are going to say, oh, does everything have to be a discipline? Does everything have to be some sort of like out of the textbook here of disciplining yourself? No, it's just, you just get such a level of confidence when you do that. For a while I was reading a lot more. Not even just the Bible, but like other things, books, like the typical Jocko Willink, Extreme Ownership, Can't Hurt Me, David Goggins, like things of that nature, Millionaire Next Door, anything Tony Robbins really as well. Like it's like things like that. You read these books, you get a great deal of confidence from them. So that when approach really with this topic, or if it comes about in any way, you could handle it with confidence. You're going to hear the word confidence a lot throughout the entirety of this episode. But being able to present yourself in a proper manner because you have the backing to do so, to say whatever you're going to say it because you know it to be true, versus just someone speaking on sheer emotion, which is what you see a lot nowadays. Not so much knowledge and education, but a lot more emotion. And kind of tying back to why I wanted to, because I'm kind of all over the place now that I don't have anything written down right in front of me. The reason I wanted to title this "Level Up Your Character," make it sound kind of like a video game, is because essentially you can make this life to be like a video game in most cases. In video games, the first one that comes to mind would be GTA, obviously, because that's the closest thing to being realistic, quote unquote. Like, you do these things where you make your guy do X amount of workouts so he gets stronger, so he gets faster, or do X amount of heists and jobs and things of that nature, so you can get more money, and then you get a nicer house, then you can get nicer cars and have a nice garage, helicopter, private jet, whatever. And no, I'm not saying to rob a bank or do anything silly, stupid like that, but you do these things to make your character better. And there's people, especially in GTA, it takes time to do anything unless you're doing money glitches and whatnot. I'm not sure how familiar you guys are watching this episode, GTA. You could just really, like any other game, kind of hack it and cheat it and have all the money in the world by doing nothing, but who wants to do that? When you do the traditional way, it takes time. GTA is a game that anyone who does it the right way and doesn't, have 8 to 12 hours a day to grind it, it takes a lot of time. And I think that's why people can actually learn to appreciate it. I think that's why the game, in a sense, other than it being relatively realistic, is because whatever you're doing takes time. I mean, that's the whole premise of the game, is that you can't achieve everything it has to offer overnight, or it would serve no purpose. It would just burn out overnight, the game. And again, for not sure how familiar you guys are with the game Grand Theft Auto, GTA, these games come out like once. There's been only 5 games over the course of however many years. They come out like once every 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it may be. And the only way to keep people playing is if there's they have to be pursuing longevity, or else there's no point. Because if there's one way to just get rich that quick, people would burn out and it wouldn't even be fun anymore. And this all ties back in with life. Everything it's a long game, and people love to do it in GTA because you could accomplish so much in such a short, or not even such a short period of time, but you could accomplish so much just by twiddling your thumbs on a controller. Like, you could do so much, but then in real life, people are not willing to put in that sweat equity into anything. They're not willing to do any of that in real life. And it's like you could see that they understand the premise of it because they'll do it in a video game, but then in real life they're the polar opposite of that. And again, for the people that are going to try and twist things and try and make light of it, which is fine. I'm not saying to go rob a bank or to get all inked up and run around shirtless with a raccoon head, on your raccoon mask on your head. Like that's, at least that's what my guy looked like way back when I used to play. But what I'm getting at is you see people who understand the premise, and I'm going to sound redundant in a couple things here because I don't have it written down in front of me, but I just want to emphasize a few things. People understand the premise of what it means to level up their character, both literally speaking in this life and, you say figuratively speaking or in a video game sense as well. People understand it, and they know it takes time. I just think people aren't willing to see the long-term effect. And when it comes to things like fitness, whereas that's really where I could sit here with confidence and talk about to a sense of how I've been pursuing it for a very long time. But if I'm being blunt, it didn't start because I was like, you know what, I'm going to see this through and I'm going to do it for X amount of years and I'm not going to stop. That's not why it starts. So I'm not trying to pretend like I'm coming on here with some Goggins-like mentality because I didn't have that. And I'm not even going to pretend like I have it completely down now. For most people, for a lot of people, it's different. I was actually thinking about this last night when I didn't even know really too much about what I was going to speak about on this episode. And it was, just to give you a little backstory, the reason I even got into anything fitness was because in high school, like many people, you get picked on a little bit. And I'm not saying I was like the victim of bullying to a crazy extent. But yeah, as a freshman, there are older upperclassmen, older guys who I've actually thanked, who I've seen over the past couple of years, genuinely for being rough with me. Because it literally just made me want to be tougher. It made me want to level up my character. It made me want to get into fitness and grind and not have them, there was no chip on my shoulder following that. Like say, okay, oh, look at me now. Like, it's like, no, like they're the reason you got in that. You should give them a handshake. They're the reason you even got into it. And I guess I know there's levels to it because some people, obviously some people bully and take it a little too far, but it's like I watched it. All people my age are kind of getting picked on as freshmen. It's like everywhere across the United States and in the world. I'm not trying to play victim. But I saw it firsthand, people who just crumbled because of it. And it didn't make them better. It did the opposite. And I don't hold anything against them. I mean, we're 15 years old as a freshman. It just so happened my father, he was doing it for his whole life as well. So I had a little bit of guidance there. But it's like, you just level up your character, whoever you do it for, whether it's for you or for other people. In that case, if I wanted to do it for other people, with me being younger and having that immature mentality, I'll be honest, I did have a little bit of that as I got older, saying like, now I'm not, they used to call me noodle arms or Gumby, whatever. Like, you can't say that anymore. But in the same right, you're the reason I even got started. You're the reason I wanted to level up my character in life. Why I wanted to not only hit the gym and be physically, tougher, muscle-wise, but it also drove me to not want to be soft, and this is for basketball speaking, not to be soft on the court either. I remember I was, I was playing, and I had what's called, and I still have now, it's called Osgood-Schlatter disease. It's, what parents would commonly refer to as kids around the age of 15, 16, 17 with growing pains. And it messed me up pretty bad. I mean, I couldn't really play too much of my sophomore year. It messed me up a little bit. And I remember the first few practices of the year, like it hurt. It hurt, and I was still I was frustrated to be playing JV instead of varsity, whether I deserved it or not. I was so timid, like extremely timid. Probably didn't even deserve it. I don't know if I was even there skill-wise or whatnot. It was a pretty good school. And I was frustrated, so I'd let the pain that I'd feel when practices first started and everything, and I would just sit on the sideline, just kind of complaining, saying it hurts, stretch out. And the older guys, I remember their name. Obviously, I could say their name. I'm not going to say their names now. I remember their names. Like, they would look at me, and, like, I would expect, like, sympathy or, like, where I'd try to push through on a couple drills here and there. I expect them to be like, wow, you're a tough dude. And in reality, it's like, I was so soft. Like, I was pillow soft because, you come home, whereas my father would be a little more of a hard-nosed dude. He'd give it to me straight. Or, he'd be a little more passive about it, whereas my mom would, kind of coddle me and tell me she understands. But in reality, what you need is to go out in the world and be pushed around a little bit. That's what makes you want to level up your characters, literally speaking. I mean, it made me want to hit the gym. It made me want to be tougher on the court because now it transformed my whole mentality, where you see guys, basketball again, where it's like they're doing everything they can to sell the foul, everything they can to sell that they were hit or that the ref missed a call, whatever. And because of how I was taught to not be soft like that on the court by these older guys and whatnot, I loved getting hit. Like you would never see me, obviously I get frustrated and be a little emotional at times, but you would never see me doing my best effort to flop or to try and sell a foul or something. Like what I loved was the opposite. I loved getting hit and like I'll get they'll do like they'll try and jab or something or do like a high jab and I remember the one time in a scrimmage I got elbowed. The kid he sold it pretty well. So, it wasn't his first rodeo doing that. Hit me right across the chin. And I remember I was right in front of the bench, and everyone's like, "Yo, going crazy, whatever." And I loved it. I slapped the floor. I was talking a little bit of crap, and I liked it. Like I genuinely liked it, and that's how you earn that grit, that toughness. No one likes someone who's trying to sell it the whole time. 'Cause it's a reflection of you being soft, And I'm not the toughest dude. I'm not saying you have to do it my way or the highway, but it's that toughness of the world that people just can't really fathom anymore. That made me want to level up my character. And now that I think about it, I know this episode is just kind of a reflection of everything that I've been through, but I guess that's kind of how I'm going to stick with it for the duration of this. Not sure how much longer I'll go, but these are just key examples. Like it made me want to get better. And in doing so, I've been able to ride out fitness now, more so of a discipline than it is really a passion thing. But I've been able to ride it out since I first picked up a dumbbell, 6 years now. Obviously, I had little breaks here and there. I don't know if I ever went more than a week, though, to be honest, without lifting, just because it was just more of a discipline, and I like to see some people I know at the gym and whatnot. But it's because of that, again, I've been able to ride it out this long, been able to help a whole lot of people kind of get up and running, some people who still seek advice, even though they've been doing it for a little while, and I seek plenty. I ask a ton more questions than people ask me, and I have no problem with that. But it's just things like that when you level up your character, not only are you bettering yourself, but you can now become an asset to others. Others can look to you to seek out advice, to seek out, general guidance, whatever it may be. But it doesn't happen unless you start in something. And it goes back again to something as simple as the guitar, something more extreme, like getting into fight training for defense purposes, or somewhere in the middle, like most people do, fitness, and then you depend on the level of intensity you want to train at. But, it comes down to what you want for your life. That's all. And when you update your life's resume, I believe that opens a lot more doors to opportunity, whether you're seeking opportunity or not. I believe there's always something there that could drive us to want more. Again, for your sake or for those around you. But it's also not, you're also, I believe, not going to discover, what you're truly passionate about until you try it. Like I've written down a whole crap ton of things here. So what I want to accomplish, or at least start by year's end. And I have no idea, genuinely have no idea if I'll enjoy it once I actually start them. And I have every intention of starting every single thing on this list. There's probably 30, 40 things on here, things I have going on at the moment, things I want to start with a little more urgency. Some things kind of passive, and other things that are more of a long-term thing that I want to start much further down the road. But who's to say I'll like half of it or anything? You're not going to try until you step out of your comfort zone. That's part of this life, becoming, worth something, or finding what you're worth in a weird way, is by getting out of your comfort zone. You stay in that comfort zone, it's going to kill you. I mean, there's guys that it's just like, since high school or whatever, they just have not been able to establish maybe new friends, new hobbies, new ideas, new anything, because you have to now step out of your comfort zone to find new friends, to find and seek new opportunities. Whereas in elementary school, middle school, high school, sometimes in college, but it's just by nature that you're expected to go out there and mingle, or just by happenstance with sports that you get mixed with people and everyone's on the same shy level, that now, you end up being friends. But when you get older, people adapt, people change. Some people are more extroverted, some people are more introverted, some people don't have no problem going out and making friends and mingling with people they don't know. Some people, it takes everything in them to just go to a social gathering, especially when they're not there with anyone they know. Um, so it's about developing those skills too to put you to to go out there with confidence. That's kind of how I'm even doing this right now, is because when I first had the idea of actually posting videos, faith-based um, related videos, I remember it was late at night and I couldn't sleep and I was upset because of something that had happened, and I said, screw it, I'm just gonna record literally right here, like right here. I had that lamp facing this way at my phone, recording me. I was sitting here, turned that way, and I started speaking of everything that I wanted to speak about. Um, and it was history from there. That's how I started with the faith-based videos. But what actually rooted me in that, which by the way I've been doing since I was probably 19, 20-ish. I'm 22 now, as I mentioned before. And prior to that, it was when I was probably I want to say 17 when I started, because I think I was able to drive. Making YouTube videos. Again, these were the opposite of faith-based related videos, I'll tell you that. And they're still out there somewhere. But I just don't care what people think about me. And because of that, I've established this don't care personality in a weird way. But then also in the same right, I've established this confidence in speaking before others, before a camera. Obviously a lot easier. It comes a lot easier when I'm more confident about what I'm speaking about how much I actually am knowledgeable and up to date on the topic itself. But even when I don't know, like, I still hold a certain level of confidence now, and I say this with humility, of course. I'm not saying I can go out there and speak to millions and be the best speaker in the world. I'm just saying I can present myself, and I'm not kind of, shaking because I've just presented myself and forced myself to step out of my comfort zone, which I wish I've done. I would like to have done more. But in the many times I have, it's established, like I said, this capability of speaking before others and before a camera, and doing it with confidence. And it's about and that I believe I'm so grateful for that, and I don't give myself enough credit, I think, sometimes with the level of some progress I've made in time, even though on paper it doesn't seem anything extreme to most, especially to myself. It's just I've established little things. I've updated my life's resume, from a personality sake, or from little things. And I attribute a lot of that to what I have planned for the future and what I have in the works now. But you just got to want to change. I mean, if you struggle in a social sense, you got to just throw yourself out there. With this new job I'm at, relatively new. I've been there for about 4 months or so. I think closer to 5 now. I don't even know. What I love about it is that they're just throwing me to the sharks. I mean, it's a cutthroat industry, real estate, and commercial real estate broker now, or commercial real estate agent, I should say. And they kind of just throw me to the sharks. Like they give me. I've gained some knowledge from what I've seen them do and what goes on around me, and listening to some conversations. But outside of that, they just throw me out there. Say, go learn how to swim. You want to learn how to swim? Throw me in the deep end. And from there I've been able to learn. It's the whole learning process has been expedited, to a great extent, and it's because you just throw yourself out there. You can't think all the time. Obviously, there's times to think. It's not a black and white topic. There's this gray area, obviously, but a lot of times you just gotta throw yourself out there, and in doing so, you step out of that comfort zone, and you're leveling up your character. You're updating your life's resume. I don't care if it's not $1 million. It doesn't have to be a brand new car, a brand new house. Say you update your life's resume. You could just say you're able to speak one-on-one with somebody and maintain eye contact. You can now speak to a group of 3 or 4 with confidence. You can now, I don't know. Now you've established a firmer handshake. You've established you've been able to play an instrument that you've wanted to for a long time but never focused on. You now read X amount a day, and now you feel like you're gaining more knowledge, more confidence, or anything. You post on social media things that you're passionate about, and you don't care the attention it gets, what views it gets. I've been posting on social media now for this year, and I only have it on my computer, by the way. This is something I recommend heavily. I only have social media on my computer. I don't have it on my phone. I record everything on my camera, and then on the mic as well, or wherever mic I'm using. Upload it to the computer, edit, post from there. No social media on my phone, so you can't scroll. It's great. And then if you want to use social media, you have to go on your computer. It's more of a hassle, and who wants to do that in the middle of the day at any point? So there's some discipline that comes with that as well. Definitely recommend that. But the reason I brought this up, I've been posting. I think I'm at like close to 80 or 90 posts now, something stupid like that. And it's gotten little to no attention, any of the accounts I've been doing. And I have a couple. And that's just not what I'm doing it for anymore. I'm doing it because I'm passionate about it. Obviously, you want it to go somewhere and gain more attention. But do it with confidence. Do it knowing you're giving it, your all, or giving it a great deal of your efforts. and just doing it for the right reasons, and then just pursue it. Just let it go. I said I'm doing this for at least a year, and then after that, if I don't like it, I'll quit. That was the deal I made with myself, and I highly recommend you make a deal, of that sort as well. Because if you're trying to pursue anything that's worth something in a shorter time span than a year, then I mean, how good is the foundation really? You got to ask yourself that. But, wow, this got quick. 25 minutes. Holy crap. Anyways, I keep going on this with examples and ideas for you guys, but in a nutshell, in leveling up your character, understand you do not have to be wearing Gucci clothes or is that even, whatever, Louis Vuitton crap, all this luxury stuff, driving the fastest car, nicest house and whatnot. You don't need all of that. Oh, excuse me. You don't need all of that to be quote unquote leveling up your character. There's a gazillion different ways as to how you can level up your character that do not involve anything you see on paper. I mentioned it already. Your speaking skills, reading more, getting into fitness or something on a very general sense. Maybe instead of your lunch, instead of just sitting there and having a Red Bull and complaining and having a crappy lunch, maybe you have a quick healthy meal and you go for a walk instead, just for 30 minutes or so during your lunch break or something like that. You walk in the morning, cold shower in the morning. That is a great one. I've been doing that for about a month now. Every morning, 60-second timer on the phone. Beautiful. Mental W. I mean, you literally can't even focus on the crap you have going on for the day, or the stuff that's bothering you if you feel a little sick or whatever. You can't even focus on that because it hurts a little bit, especially at first, and it's just so uncomfortable that you're so focused on what's going on right in front of you. It's incredible. It really is incredible. Oh, it's my buddy who takes cold plunges at freaking 5 in the morning. Kid's out of his mind. But I don't have a plunge, unfortunately. So if you have that, try that too. There's so many different things you could do, is what I'm getting at. So many different things you could do to level up your character, little by little. Play the long game. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And that's it, guys. I mean, play the long game. Establish little disciplines here and there, pursue little hobbies here and there, and ride them out as if they're a discipline, not just a passion project, especially something like the guitar. I got to get on. Hold me accountable if you guys are watching this for the next episode, because I have been really crappy with that. And working on my Spanish, too. That's so bad. Got to work on that. Yeah, guys. You know the gist, you know the drill by now. Are there any other ways I can help you guys? You can reach out to me directly on any social media handle at TubPodOfficial everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. Again, I don't check it too much on my computer. I check it about maybe once a day. If I'm posting, that is. If I don't post, usually I don't check that day. But like I said, you reach me anywhere. You guys know the drill by now. You're the best. I wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors and in leveling up your character. And until next time, God bless.